Okay, so here's some news. E3's returning. I should zoom in a little bit. E3 returns to LA in 2023. They decided we can't take any more years off. It's time to run it again. Let's run it back. So we're gonna get an E3 next year. I imagine they'll do an in-person E3, or they'll at least try to.
They're saying it's coming to LA, so that to me assumes that they are going back to the LA Convention Center, which is where they've always done it. So
now the question is, I know they're going to be there, but are they going to let non-industry people in? I feel like if my opinion counted for anything, I think depending on the state of the world, as in like is COVID still prevalent, like it still is right now? So is it still prevalent? Is it still a problem? I feel like they shouldn't let non-industry people in. I feel like they should only do industry people.
I mean,
that way it limits the population.
I honestly felt like they never should have let non-industry people in, because it just became an absolute fiasco once they started doing that.
Oh, it's just like all the games, you don't get to demo anything. You get to demo one game a day. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
One major game, I should say. One major game. The smaller stuff, you can do whatever. But like if you wanted to play, like for example, I don't know what, like Call of Duty.
Or the year you went to, and you tried to demo KH3.
Oh, that was
for like 4 hours.
I was actually in line for like 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours. It was crazy. Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm not doing this again. That was the only time I wait. I explicitly was like, I'm not gonna wait in line for any of this crap. Like, I really don't want to. I like for small games, I just did it. But like, dude, KH was honestly a 2 to 3 hour line. It was so bad. Like people were just sitting in line. And then you play for like 20 minutes, or like less than that. So it's just like, come on, man. So I mean, it's not like they're doing a bad job managing it. It's just the nature of you have such a large group of people. So I hope they don't let non-industry people in because of like what's going on right now. Obviously,
I mean, they probably will though, because honestly, it's just free money for them. They can just like the ESA can just like charge people and just get free money for selling tickets to E3 basically.
I don't remember how much it was, but it was a lot. It was a lot to get in. It was expensive. That's all I remember.
It's at least like $100 a ticket. Maybe
I think it's more actually. I think it's a couple hundred.
Yeah,
if you try and enter the day of the event, it's like $1,000. From what I remember.
Oh yeah, you have to like pre-order it like
months
in advance.
Yeah, you pre-order it, and then it's obviously much cheaper. So I mean, I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, like I'm indifferent. I thought like the non-E3 system of just everybody does their own online conference. I mean, it's like that's fine with me too.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think the only nice thing about E3 was like you watched them all back to back, so it was like a really like nice long show.
Yeah.
But for this, it's like, okay, well, one person's going to do it June 13th, another person's going to do it June 20th. Nintendo's going to tell you 24 hours in advance that they're going to do some major thing.
Nintendo still like they did the Xenoblade Direct and they did the partner showcase, but they haven't had like a Nintendo a first party Direct, and I'm guessing at this point that they probably won't until the fall, maybe.
Yep.
Like
I think that's a good expectation. That's probably a good guess. So I don't know. I'm indifferent about E3. I mean, I don't know if I'd ever go back, but
to me, like, them doing it in person is like kind of pointless, honestly, and I bet like a lot of the game devs and publishers are probably not very happy about it going back in person, because like honestly it just costs them a lot of money to like buy the booth space and like get the booth set up and like hire people to run the booths and stuff like that, and obviously like get all their stuff to LA. I mean, a lot of the companies are in like the LA area, but not all of them.
Not all of them. I would guess most of them have like a satellite office there.
I think, like, I would guess at least, and I don't know this and I don't have any information, but I would guess that the game companies much preferred the online setup where they can just kind of do their own thing and like get their information out easily on their own time without paying all this money to get a booth set up and paying for this booth space at the event and all that stuff.
E3 was another thing that most people don't really think about. The one thing that was good at E3 for a lot of these companies, though, is E3 is a great meeting place.
Yeah.
Like you can set up all your meetings to happen at E3 for whoever you want to talk to. So and you know everybody's there. So you make, hey, like I got like this whole day I'm gonna be in our booth for 9 to 5, quote unquote. Let's set up all our meetings from 9 to 5 in the booth when we're not showcasing anything that I need to be there for. And then we go drink at the bar at night and we do the rest of our networking there. That was like, I think, a big part of E3 that most people don't think about, because they're thinking about only the games. But like, in the time that I was trying to do stuff, E3 was a place where I met people for things. And I did have a meeting with somebody there, and because it was a unique opportunity where they were there because they're normally on the East Coast, and I was able to drive down and meet them. So it was like a unique opportunity. So that's also something that's nice about that. It's a nice, like, hey, you're going to be at E3, I'm going to be at E3. Let's meet. Good opportunities. So, I mean, maybe that's beneficial for people. I don't know. Like, I feel like you could just do a Zoom call, but
I still don't think in the long run it's probably worth the hassle for a lot of companies. Like, if they want to set up a meeting, they can just set up a damn meeting. Like,
you just set up a conference. Conference call or something. Yeah, but I mean, again, it's a unique opportunity to be like, hey, everybody's here.
It is. Yeah, people are there. So if everyone's gonna be there, you might as well do your meetings. But
and everybody's schedule is there, so that's like also like, it's not necessarily always a big deal, but like sometimes trying to work around somebody else's schedule is a pain in the butt. So I mean, I get that too. Anyway, okay. Any other E3 thoughts?
Nope. I mean, it's still, we basically just had, I mean, it wasn't E3, but like, Summer Games Fest, or what would have been E3 had there been an E3. So it's a long ways off. We don't know, maybe some companies will like not show up. Like, they, I think the last couple, even, like, there are some companies who are just like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that.
Oh, sure. For sure. So like Riot,
we'll see who.
Like Riot Games doesn't do E3. Riot Games doesn't do anything anymore for conferences.
No, I mean, though, like, even like some companies that had done E3 pretty religiously, so to speak, in the past, like didn't do it.
Well,
Yeah, so
really.
We'll see which companies actually decide to like show up and actually go to the thing, and how many are just kind of like, nah, I don't know about that. Like,
big companies won't need to, but it's the medium to small fish that need it.
Yeah.
The medium and small fish who don't have Sony's, budget, like they're in here by themselves. Like you can't tell me like a Coromon, even with like a publisher, is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to drop $10,000 on an E3 video for like 30 seconds. No. They're not going to be able to. It's like the medium and small fish kind of need something like this. But because it's harder for them, they don't have like the same budgeting and like setup, like. So anyway, Mike Ybarra of Blizzard is still in favor of Diablo Immortal's controversial microtransactions. Surprised Pikachu face, unbelievable. There's no way. So, when we think about monetization at the various highest level it was, how do we give a free Diablo experience to hundreds of millions of people where they can literally do 99.5% of everything in the game? That's actually, I don't think that's even true. I don't even believe that number. Like, I know he's just throwing it out there to make it seem like, hey, you can do that much of the game, but I don't believe that at all. I think it's more like 75% of the game. But the thing is, that 75% of the game goes by like this, and you realize that, oh shit, this last 25% is so grueling and painful that I'm done. Most people.
Yeah. I mean, I would guess it's even like, as high as like 90 to 95%. I don't believe 99.5 seems a little much, but then you don't think about in a normal Diablo game, like where do most people spend their time in people that play Diablo a lot?
Yeah.
In the end game. And
Yeah.
that's what costs money. And like in Diablo 3, or I assume when Diablo 4 comes out in Diablo 4, you play through the story, level up your character to max level, whatever that may be, and then you do end game.
Right.
And that is the majority of the time that you spend in the game is on end game.
Yep.
Maybe you'll have to play through the story again if you make a new character and you want to level up a new character. Fine. But still, the majority of your time is spent on end game grinding. In Diablo 3, it's like grinding rifts and doing your dailies and like the normal end game loop of like any game, whatever the daily and weekly tasks there are. You know, get your gear, get stronger. You know, and then they have the different levels of difficulty in Diablo. You can keep increasing the difficulty to, which makes the monsters stronger to
whatever
better drop.
Yeah, whatever the highest levels are become. For like Diablo 2, it's like you get to normal, nightmare, hell. For Diablo 3, there's even higher echelons. There's tiers beyond that. For Immortal, I want to go on a little bit more on some quotes. The monetization comes in at the end of the game. The philosophy was always to lead with great gameplay and make sure that hundreds of millions of people can get through the whole campaign without any costs. From that standpoint, I feel really good about it as an introduction to Diablo. Now, I want to say the last paragraph here. Blizzard also said that most players aren't spending money in the game. That means nothing, by the way. Though it wouldn't provide specific statistics, recently, however, Diablo Immortal's microtransactions netted the company $24 million in just 2 weeks. So, number one, that's how mobile games work.
Yeah, that's true for like every mobile game. The vast majority of players don't spend any money, but the people who do spend a lot.
Right.
So.
It's like the vast majority of people spend $10 at most.
Yeah.
And then the last couple percentage points are spending $10,000 plus dollars. And I mean, like, probably more than 10,000 in those cases. $24 million in 2 weeks means that in a month, you'd expect $50 million, right? So over 12 months, you'd expect $600 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not that much in the context of the highest echelon mobile games. And we say like $500 million is a lot, but for other mobile games, you could easily make comparisons to other games. Genshin Impact made like billions of dollars.
Yeah,
over months.
I thought I had seen a different number a couple of weeks ago.
There is.
In the first month, it had made like, it was at least 100 million. I thought, if not a couple hundred.
So that's like much better, obviously, than this trajectory. But one, it's a question of if it continues. But two, like for a mobile game, if it's making $100 million a month, that's totally different. Then that's more of like a higher tiered mobile game. But like $600 million for a mobile game, it's a lot. We know it's a lot, but like you compare it to some of the other bigger mobile games, and it's nothing. Like yeah. I think we had an article of like Genshin made like billions of dollars in months.
I guess they said net 24 million, so that to me means that like they made 24 million revenue. So, or I mean profit, not revenue, profit. So that means like they already recouped their entire development cost and added 24 million on top of that.
Yeah, so, I don't know. We'd have to like has generated over $24 million in revenue.
Only revenue.
So that's revenue.
Okay.
But so I'm like,
whatever.
He has to. He can't not defend this game. He has to defend it. But at the same time, there is no defense of this game, unless you're like a prince somewhere who money doesn't mean anything to you anymore. I don't believe this percentage for one. Like that's just not true. I like how he says literally do not. I just don't think that's true. I think it's more like 75 to 80% of the game.
I mean, I can somewhat believe it because it's like, yes, you can do and have access to, you know, a very high, if not like, you know, 90, 95, 99% of the content without paying. But again, is that content like enjoyable? No, because some of it, like, well, first of all, the grind is just going to be really slow. It's going to take a long time to increase like your item level or
Right.
whatever the power stat is in this game.
Right.
PvP, you're never going to do anything in PvP because you're just going to get slaughtered by freaking whales in PvP.
Yep.
And I've even heard like the leveling process and the story progression slows down around level like 40 to 50-ish. And even those last like, 10, 15, 20 levels are kind of painful, to be honest. So, like, yes, you can maybe do 99.5% of the content free to play, but again, the difference is like, how fun is it? And two, again, the vast majority of time, not like amount of content, time is the thing that matters. The vast majority of time that people spend in this type of game is in endgame content, and that's where the microtransaction is the most prevalent.
It's not meaningful. Like, the 99.5% is not meaningful. It's fun. I'm sure it is. Like, people say it's fun. But that's not meaningful in the case of this game. That's like saying Lost Ark. You can do all of Lost Ark's story without spending a dime. It's like, yeah, of course you can. That's not the point of Lost Ark. The point of Lost Ark is to get through that so you can do endgame stuff. That's literally the point of the game. Because the main story of Lost Ark, I don't know. If somebody's enamored with it, that's fine. But you don't have to spend a dime for it. That's the same argument here that this guy is saying. It's like, oh yeah, you don't have to spend a dime for the campaign. Yeah, no shit. Most of these games, if you go through a campaign, you shouldn't have to spend a dime if it's free to play. That means it's a bad campaign, in my opinion. If it's like meant to be a free to play experience like this, like Lost Ark, you can play the campaign without paying a dime. I did that. Played through the whole campaign, didn't have to spend a dime. It's literally the point of the game. It's like his statement has zero meaning to me. It's like it's nothing. It's nothing. If he said that to my face, like, yeah, that's nothing. You're saying nothing to me right now. You may have well just said the sky is also blue. It's like, yeah, of course. But who cares if it's free? The main experience is at the end. Like, that's the main experience. So I can do 99.5% of the game, but who gives a shit?
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's not meaningful, and that's not where I spend the vast majority of my time. Again, the vast majority of my time in an ARPG is spent in endgame, and that's where the microtransactions are the heaviest by far in Diablo Immortal.
Which is smart of them, and also it makes some of his statements just stupid. It's just like, okay.
I mean, his statements may very well be true, but they are disingenuous. They are disingenuous because, yes, again, he may be saying things that are true, but they are very skewed, basically. They're not presenting the whole picture.
He's hoping you're an idiot. He's hoping you're dumb. And that's literally what these statements are. It's like, hopefully you're dumb, so you believe this. Hopefully you're dumb. So you can believe everything I'm saying and think it's going to be, I'm saying really positive things. It's like, you are, but I'm not buying your bridge. I'm not buying
It's the CEO of Blizzard. I mean, they're pretty much paid to say stuff like this. What is he gonna say? Is he gonna come out and say like, yeah, no, Diablo Immortal sucks. We're just out to steal your money. Just give us your money. It's fine.
I don't know. One of these days, I hope they say something different. It doesn't have to be like that. One of these, I just hope they say like, hey, we hear the public opinion, and I don't know, like sometimes you got to be open to reevaluating how you monetize people. You have to. You can't. I mean, like EA is okay with it, but like you can't just make people go bankrupt because of your game. Like you can't just allow that. At some point, you have to have like a nugget of principle.
Yeah, they can and they do.
They do, of course they do, because they don't care.
And they don't have any principles or morals. Money and the bottom line is the only thing that matters to a lot of these people.
Yeah, I just wish they would. One of these days have like, hey, you know what? We see that there are a lot of people, they're saying that they're spending too much and it's feeding some addictions, so we're going to reevaluate this.
I won't, but the video game industry is also, for the vast majority, self-regulated, and like we're seeing some governments start to do something, but like, yeah, governments actually need to crack down
Yeah.
and like regulate this industry a little bit, because
Yeah.
it's getting a little bit out of hand.
Yeah, and I know they won't. That's like a casino regulating a person in there, or like going and it's like, hey, you've been gambling a lot. You want to stop?
I mean, the thing is, I mean, obviously people can still ruin their lives gambling, but there are a hell of a lot of regulations on casino. Like,
The casino's not going to kick you out for gambling too much.
No,
they're not going to. That's my point. Mike Ybarra's not going to stop you from spending too much in this game. He'll never do that. But sometimes I wish they would. Say like, hey, you spent too much today. You need to stop. Put like a limit, or like at least have the opportunity to give yourself a limit. I mean, but that also counts in the person self-regulating themselves. They have to do that for themselves, which they probably won't. So anyway, all right. Diablo Immortal is a terrible video game, and if you support it, I don't know. I feel like you should just go. If you're gonna spend, I think there are people that have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in this game at this point. If you're gonna do that, go buy a house. What are you doing? Buy a house. I don't get it. It's like, people just go buy a house. You have like $200,000. Go buy another house or something. Go give it to charity. I don't know. This is like, to me, it's like a waste. Literally a waste.
Do anything else with it.
Just like do anything else. This seems like you're just. I'm not saying you're completely flushing it down the toilet, because you're obviously getting some value from playing this game. But God, come on, man, just go do something else with it. Go buy a boat. I don't know. Go take a cruise. Like, really, like, just buy a boat or something. I don't know. Some people are just like, you look at it, you're like, what? You have the money. Go do something else with it.